Hi, welcome. Enjoy the content, subscribe, and turn on notifications.
Avery met Jason on a rainy Tuesday afternoon at the university library. She was struggling with accounting books when he approached her. "Do you need help?" he asked with a genuine smile. "Desperately," Avery replied, laughing. That first meeting marked the beginning of something that felt magical. Jason was 22, had determined brown eyes, and a way of talking about the future that made Avery believe anything was possible. At 20, she was spontaneous, full of life, and dreamed of adventures she couldn't yet define. "Do you believe in love at first sight?" Jason asked 3 weeks later as they walked across campus. "I do now," Avery responded, feeling her heart race. 2 years after meeting, Jason was already talking about marriage naturally. At 24, he had a promising job and a clear vision for the future. "Will you marry me?" Jason asked one autumn afternoon, kneeling in the same spot where they had met. Avery looked at this man who had turned her life into something predictable and secure. He had a 5-year plan, a robust savings account, and talked about having kids like someone planning a trip. "Yes," she replied, but a small inner voice whispered a doubt she chose to ignore. "You're still so young," Sarah, Avery's best friend, warned when she saw the ring. "You just got out of college. When you find the right person, age doesn't matter," Avery responded, admiring the ring on her finger. But did she really know? Avery's parents had their reservations. During a family dinner, her father brought it up. "Are you sure about this, sweetheart? Marriage is for life." "I'm sure, Dad. Jason is a good man." "Good isn't the same as right for you," her mother murmured, but Avery pretended not to hear. Jason was different from other guys she had known. He had clear plans, worked part-time at a tech company, and studied engineering with excellent grades. More importantly, he respected her decision to wait until marriage for physical intimacy. "It makes everything more special," he said one night, holding her hand. "When our time comes, it will be perfect." The wedding took place on a sunny Saturday in the spring. Avery wore her grandmother's dress, Jason cried at the altar, and everyone commented on what a perfect couple they were. The ceremony was exactly as Jason had planned, traditional, elegant, with no surprises. "You look beautiful," he whispered during the exchange of rings. "Thank you," she replied, but for a moment wondered if she was doing the right thing. The honeymoon in a mountain cabin was exactly as they had dreamed. Jason had booked everything in advance, planned every excursion, every restaurant. It was too perfect, too controlled. "Don't you want to do something spontaneous?" Avery asked one morning. "Like what?" Jason responded, checking the day's schedule. "I don't know, something that's not in your plan." Jason laughed and kissed her forehead. "My plans are meant to make us happy, love." The physical intimacy, finally experienced, was tender and careful. Jason was respectful, gentle, everything a wife could wish for. But Avery found herself wondering if that was all there was, if there wasn't more intensity, more passion in the world. The first few months were an extension of the fairy tale. Jason got a better job, they rented a cozy apartment, and Avery dedicated herself to decorating their home and planning their future. She had dropped out of college to get married, a decision that seemed natural at the time. "Let's have kids soon," Jason would say, kissing her forehead. "I want to build a beautiful family with you." "I want that too," Avery would respond, but something inside her was starting to stir. The first sign that something was changing came 6 months after the wedding. Jason left early for work and returned late, tired and focused only on advancing in his company. Avery spent her days alone, and the loneliness was deafening. She tried filling her time with hobbies, started painting, tried learning guitar, experimented with gardening. Nothing fully satisfied her. She found herself watching others live their lives through social media, feeling like a spectator of her own existence. "How was your day?" Jason would ask every night, coming home with his tie loosened and exhaustion in his eyes. I painted a picture, Avery would reply, but the enthusiasm sounded forced even to her. That's cool. Can I see it after dinner? But after dinner, Jason was busy with work emails or studying for a certification. The painting stayed propped against the wall, another unfinished project in Avery's life. She began questioning the choices she had made. Her single friends posted pictures of spontaneous trips, nights at bars, adventures she secretly started to desire. Sarah had landed a job at a startup and traveled around the country. Melissa was doing her master's in Paris. And Avery was there, living a life that seemed designed for someone else. While Jason built a solid career, Avery felt increasingly lost. Her single friends posted pictures of trips, parties, and adventures. She posted pictures of home decor and recipes she tried. "Don't you miss anything?" her mom asked during a visit. "I have everything I need," Avery lied. The routine became suffocating. Wake up, make coffee, clean the house, wait for Jason to come home. He arrived exhausted, they ate dinner watching TV, and went to bed. On weekends, he wanted to rest or work on personal projects. "Can we go out tonight?" Avery would ask. "I'm so tired, love. How about we watch a movie?" The physical intimacy, which had been so anticipated, also didn't bring the fulfillment she imagined. Jason was affectionate but predictable. Everything in their lives had become predictable. One day, while scrolling through Instagram, Avery saw a photo of Sabrina, a friend from school days. She was on a paradisiacal beach, smiling next to a tall, athletic man. "What a perfect life," Avery murmured, feeling a pang of envy. Sabrina quickly responded to Avery's private message, "Miss you. Let's catch up soon." The meeting happened 2 weeks later at a barbecue at Sabrina's house. Avery lied to Jason, saying it was just a lunch among friends. "Have fun," he said without looking up from his computer. Sabrina's house was full of young people, loud music, and energy Avery hadn't felt in months. That's when she met Tyler. "Are you married?" he asked, noticing the ring. "I am," Avery replied but couldn't look away. Tyler was the opposite of Jason in every way. Where Jason was serious, Tyler was laid back. Where Jason planned, Tyler improvised. Where Jason was predictable, Tyler was mysterious. "Your husband didn't come?" Tyler asked later, approaching her in the kitchen. "He's working," Avery replied, feeling her heart race in a way she hadn't felt in a long time. "Too bad. He doesn't know what he's missing." The flirting was intense and dangerous. Tyler complimented everything, her smile, her laugh, the way she spoke. But there was something deeper. He listened to her, asked questions about her dreams, her fears, her frustrations. "You seem lost," he said during a conversation in the backyard, away from the others. "Lost?" Avery asked, surprised by his insight. "Married, but not happy. Secure, but not fulfilled." His words hit something Avery didn't realize she was feeling. Someone had finally seen through the perfect facade she maintained. "It's not that simple," she murmured. "It should be," Tyler replied, gently touching her arm. "Life is too short to live it halfway." "I need to go," she said when it was late, but she didn't want to leave. "I hope to see you soon," Tyler responded, and the way he said it sounded like both a promise and a threat. Avery arrived home with her heart racing. Jason was asleep, and she stayed awake for hours thinking about the feeling of being noticed, of being desired by someone new. "How was lunch?" Jason asked the next day. "It was nice," Avery replied, avoiding his gaze. 3 days later, Avery was at the supermarket when she heard a familiar voice. "What a coincidence running into you here." It was Tyler, smiling with that same look that had made her nervous at the party. "Hi," Avery replied, feeling her heart race again. "I've been thinking about you," he said, stepping closer. "I thought maybe we could grab a coffee sometime." I'm married, Avery reminded him, though without conviction. Just coffee between friends, Tyler replied, pulling out his phone. Just a chat. I promise. Avery hesitated for a moment, then gave him her number. Just a chat, she repeated, more to herself than to him. Just a chat, Tyler confirmed, but his smile suggested otherwise. The first message came that same day. It was great seeing you today. When can we grab that coffee? Avery stared at the message for a few seconds, as if each letter glowed brighter than it should have. Coffee. It seemed harmless. She reread it, bit her lower lip, and before overthinking, typed, sure. When and where? Tyler responded almost immediately, as if he had been expecting it. They arranged to meet the next day at a discreet cafe, far from prying eyes. When she arrived, he was already there, sitting at a table in the back, with that smile that stirred what she tried to bury. The conversation flowed so naturally that at some point, Avery completely forgot what was stopping her from being there. They laughed, talked about everything, and time passed unhurriedly. On the way out, as they walked toward the parking lot, Tyler stopped, lightly held her arm, and pulled her closer. Their eyes met for a moment that felt eternal. Avery could have backed away, could have said something, but she stood there, motionless, as he leaned in. The kiss happened with the intensity both had been avoiding admitting. First slow, then more urgent. When they pulled apart, breathless, Avery blinked, confused, and shook her head as if waking from a dream. I need to go, she said, stepping back. Tyler just smiled crookedly, watching her hurry away. In the car, her heart pounded hard. Her hands trembled on the steering wheel. Guilt washed over her like a wave, but beneath it all, there was something else. A spark of excitement she didn't want to admit. Back home, she could barely focus on anything else. She took a quick shower, trying to wash that kiss from her memory, but the memory kept coming back, more vivid each time. Then the lies began. Small ones at first, then bigger ones. Avery claimed she had joined a gym to justify her frequent outings. She bought workout clothes, came home pretending to be tired from exercising. I'm glad you're taking care of your health, Jason said proudly. Yeah, I feel much better, Avery replied, knowing the lie was eroding something inside her. The meetings with Tyler became regular and increasingly elaborate. They started as innocent coffees, where they talked about books, movies, abandoned dreams. Tyler had opinions on everything, questioned everything, and made Avery think about things she had taken for granted. Have you ever thought about going back to college? He asked one afternoon. Jason thinks I don't need to work, Avery replied. And you? What do you think? It was a simple question, but one Avery couldn't answer. For so long, her decisions had been based on what Jason thought was best, what made sense for their plan, that she had forgotten to ask what she wanted. The long lunches evolved into walks in the park, then into intimate conversations in his car. Tyler talked about his projects, his travels, past relationships. He had broken up with Sabrina weeks ago, but that didn't matter. What mattered was the connection growing between them. You're different from what I imagined, Tyler said one afternoon, staring intently at her. Different how? Deeper. More interesting. More real. It was exactly what Avery needed to hear. Someone who saw her as a complex person, not just the perfect wife everyone expected her to be. Tyler had a small apartment downtown, and it was there that Avery crossed the line she never imagined she would. The place was the opposite of the house she shared with Jason, messy, stacked with books, guitars leaning against the walls, unframed paintings pinned up with thumbtacks. Are you sure? Tyler asked the first time, his hands trembling slightly. I am, Avery lied, but her heart was torn between desire and guilt. Avery felt alive in a new way, as if waking from a deep sleep. Tyler was different from Jason in every way, including intimacy. He was intense, present, focused solely on her during those stolen moments. He asked questions about what she liked, tried new things, wasn't afraid to be vulnerable. "You were holding all this back," he said afterward, stroking her hair. "Holding back what?" "This passion. This hunger for life." Avery felt like she had discovered a version of herself that had been dormant. But the guilt grew heavier, like a stone in her chest. "Are you going to leave your husband?" Tyler asked after a few weeks, as she dressed to go home. "I don't know," Avery replied honestly. "It's complicated." "It doesn't have to be," Tyler said, kissing her neck. "You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be yourself. What if I don't know who I am anymore? Then we'll figure it out together." The double life became increasingly complex. Avery created an elaborate routine of lies, gym schedules, imaginary friends, non-existent appointments. She started caring more about her appearance, bought new lingerie, changed her hairstyle. "You seem different," Jason commented one night. "Different how?" Avery asked, her heart racing. "More beautiful. The gym is doing you good." "Thanks," she replied, feeling terrible. Jason started noticing other changes too. Avery was more distant, less interested in conversations about the future, less affectionate. When he tried to get physically close, she always had an excuse. "Is everything okay between us?" he asked one night. "Of course," Avery replied too quickly. "You seem distant." "I'm just tired. The gym is tough." Jason wanted to believe her, but something inside him knew something else was going on. Avery was constantly on the phone, always with a new laugh, a sparkle in her eyes he didn't recognize. "Who's texting you?" he asked one night. "Sabrina," Avery replied, hiding her phone. "She's always sending memes." But Jason saw the name, Tyler, on the screen before she hit it. "Who's Tyler?" he asked, trying to keep his voice calm. "A friend of Sabrina's," Avery replied, blushing. "He's in the group chat from the class." The lie sounded fake even to her. Jason didn't say anything, but that night he stayed awake thinking. In the following days, he started paying closer attention. Avery would leave for the gym but return without any signs of exercise. Her clothes didn't smell of sweat, her hair was always perfect. "Could you show me the gym?" he asked one weekend. "Why?" Avery replied nervously. "I want to see the place where you're spending so much time." "It's nothing special," she said quickly. "Just a regular gym." Jason decided to follow Avery one Thursday afternoon. He saw her enter a cafe downtown, where she met a dark-haired man. He watched the smiles, the touches, the way she looked at him. He saw the kiss. Jason's world collapsed in that moment. He sat in the car, watching the woman he loved betray everything they had built together. When she left the cafe holding hands with the man, Jason knew his marriage was over. He didn't confront Avery immediately. He went home, sat on the couch, and thought. When she arrived, pretending to be tired from her workout, he simply said, "We need to talk." "About what?" Avery asked, but something in his tone scared her. "About us. About what's happening." "I don't understand," she said, but her hands were trembling. "Avery, I know you're cheating on me." The silence that followed was deafening. Avery felt as if the world had stopped. All the lies, all the secret meetings, all the accumulated guilt exploded in her chest. "Jason, No," he interrupted, his voice breaking. "I don't want to hear excuses." "You don't understand," Avery said, starting to cry. "I feel so alone, so." "Alone?" Jason interrupted, incredulous. "I work every day to build a future for us. I come home thinking about you, planning our life together. How can you feel alone?" "You're not present," Avery shouted. "You're always working, always tired, always trying to be a good husband," Jason finished. Always trying to give you security. Avery realized in that moment how unfair her words were. Jason had been everything she had asked for, faithful, hardworking, dedicated. But she had thrown it all away for a few moments of adrenaline. "I need some time," she said, unsure what else to say. "Time?" Jason asked with a bitter laugh. "You want time to decide between me and your lover?" "It's not like that," Avery said, but she knew it was exactly like that. "Then what is it like, Avery? Explain it to me." She couldn't respond. Jason watched her for a long moment, then went upstairs to pack his bags. "What are you doing?" she asked, following him. "Giving you the time you asked for," he replied, packing his clothes. "But not in the way you imagine." "Jason, you don't have to." "I do," he interrupted. "I need to preserve what's left of my dignity." Jason left that night, leaving Avery alone with her choices. She ran to the phone and called Tyler. "He knows," she said, crying. "Calm down," Tyler replied. "Maybe it's better this way. Now you can be free." "Free?" Avery asked. "I just ruined my marriage." "A marriage that made you unhappy," Tyler reminded her. "Now we can be together for real." But in the days that followed, Tyler revealed a side Avery didn't know. When she tried to talk about her feelings, he changed the subject. When she cried, he grew impatient. When she needed emotional support, he made excuses to be unavailable. "You're being too dramatic," Tyler said one afternoon when Avery tried to explain her guilt. "Dramatic?" she asked, incredulous. "I just destroyed my marriage." "A marriage you didn't want," he replied, disinterested. "You should be happy." Avery realized Tyler had never cared about her feelings. He had wanted the thrill, the adrenaline of the affair. Now that she was available, he had lost interest. Meanwhile, Jason had hired a lawyer and started divorce proceedings. He moved into a small apartment near work, a temporary place where he could rebuild his life. In the first few days, he barely slept, reliving every moment of the betrayal, wondering where he had gone wrong. "Maybe I should have noticed the signs," he told his lawyer. "Mr. Williams, infidelity is a choice. It's not your fault." But Jason couldn't stop questioning himself. He had worked so hard to give Avery stability that he forgot to ask if that was what she really wanted. He had loved her the way he knew how, responsibly, with plans, with security. But maybe it hadn't been enough. When Avery received the divorce papers, reality finally hit her like a punch to the gut. Seeing her name on those legal documents, the word divorce in capital letters, the cold division of assets listed, it all made concrete what she had destroyed. She called Jason, desperate, her hands shaking as she dialed the number. "Please, can we talk?" she begged, her voice breaking. "We already talked," he replied, but she could hear the pain behind the coldness. "You made your choice." "I made a terrible mistake," Avery said, crying. "A horrible mistake. I didn't know what I was doing." "Didn't know?" Jason's voice rose a notch. "You didn't know you were cheating on me? You didn't know you were lying every day? You don't know how lost I felt, Jason. So alone. And me? Do you think I don't feel lost now? Alone? Betrayed by the person I loved most in the world?" The silence that followed was heavy with pain from both sides. "Do you not love me anymore?" she asked, her voice breaking. Jason was silent for a long moment. When he finally spoke, his voice was full of pain. "I love you. I'll always love you. But I can't trust you anymore. And without trust, there's no marriage." The call ended, and Avery found herself completely alone. Tyler had disappeared, Jason had moved on, and she was in the apartment that would soon no longer be hers, surrounded by the wreckage of a life she had built and destroyed with her own hands. 3 months later, Avery was back at her parents' house, sleeping in her teenage bedroom among faded posters and school trophies. The irony was cruel. At 28, she was exactly where she had been at 18, as if all those years had been just a dream. "You need to rebuild your life," her mother said one morning, bringing coffee to the room. "I don't know how," Avery replied, still in pajamas at noon. "Start small. Get a job. Go back to school. Remember who you are beyond being someone's wife." It was a conversation they'd had dozens of times, but Avery couldn't find the energy to take the first step. She spent her days scrolling through social media, watching the life she had abandoned and the new life Jason was building. Photos of him with the red-haired woman appeared more frequently. Her name was Rebecca, she was an engineer like him, had a confident smile and eyes that sparkled when she looked at Jason. In the photos, he looked lighter, happier than Avery remembered him being in the last months of their marriage. "He looks happy," her mother commented, looking over her shoulder. "Yes," Avery replied, her heart breaking. "He deserves to be happy. And you? Don't you deserve to be happy too?" "I don't know what I deserve anymore," Avery admitted honestly. "I destroyed the best thing I ever had." "You made a serious mistake, but that doesn't mean your life is over." "It feels like it is." Her mother sat on the bed next to her daughter. "You know what saddens me most about all this? It's not that you cheated on Jason. It's that you lost yourself so much that you believed you needed another man to feel alive." Her mother's words struck something deep. Avery had spent so much time blaming routine, monotony, the lack of adventure, that she never asked why she needed external validation to feel complete. That night, Avery looked at herself in the mirror and saw a woman she didn't recognize. She had traded true love for an illusion, destroyed a stable life for a few moments of adrenaline. She had lost a man who truly loved her for another who didn't care about her at all. "What have I done?" she whispered to her reflection. But it was too late for regrets. Jason had found someone who valued what he offered: stability, fidelity, a solid future. Avery had learned the hardest way possible that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. 6 months later, Avery saw on Instagram that Jason had remarried. The ceremony was simple, but his smile was genuine. She typed "congratulations" in the comments but deleted it before posting. Some choices can't be undone. Some opportunities don't repeat themselves. And some people only realize the value of what they have when it's too late to get it back. Avery had learned that true love isn't about adrenaline or wild passion. It's about choosing the same person every day, even when routine feels monotonous. It's about building something solid together, even when other options seem more exciting. She had had all that with Jason, but only realized it when it was already gone forever. Life taught Avery that sometimes the adventure we seek outside our home makes us realize that the true treasure was always right beside us. But that lesson came at a price she would pay for the rest of her life: the certainty that she had destroyed with her own hands the best thing she ever had. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss any updates. See you next time.